at about 4 p.m. I have decided, as a service to the community, each Wednesday at 4 p.m. I will try to go live for a few minutes and just discuss a topic that may be of interest to folks in this area or anywhere actually on what's going on with the law. Today's topic is how the courts are reopening here in North Carolina anyway, but generally probably in most other states as well. Even though today's topic I chose to be on courts opening or reopening, I do welcome anyone to send me a message, a text, an email if you have a particular subject matter that you'd like to hear covered. I expect these 4 o'clock live conferences, I guess you can call them, to last about 5 to 10 minutes. So again, today's topic is how the courts are reopening in North Carolina. So first of all, let's just discuss who makes that decision. That decision is determined by our North Carolina Chief Justice, Chief Justice Beasley, who is the Chief Justice of the North Carolina Supreme Court. She is the one that makes the decisions about how and when and in what ways the courts will reopen across the state in every county, whether it be district court, superior court, civil court, criminal court. And what she's done basically since early March, when she closed the courts from most everything at that time, is put committees together to try to figure out the best ways to reopen the courts statewide, and then have those committees go out and put together some orders that she can sign to allow that to happen. And her latest order basically says that the courts will open in some form or fashion starting on June 1, 2020. Now, let me first say that form or fashion about how courts are going to reopen will be different in every county. Although her order suggesting what needs to be done in order for the courts to be open is the same for every county, basically the physical infrastructure of the county, the physical buildings that the courthouses are held in, is different from county to county and may then make it easier for some courthouses to open and harder for other courthouses to open. For example, one of the things she's requiring is that there be proper social distancing in the courthouse at all times. So that means there can only be so many people in a courtroom at a time. That means there can only be so many people in the lobbies at a time. That means there can only be so many people in the clerk's office at a time. That includes judges, clerks, other staff like the deputy sheriffs who work the courtrooms. It includes the attorneys, it includes witnesses, it includes clients. So since social distancing is going to have to be observed, basically everybody's staying 6 feet apart. The physical layout of a particular courthouse may make some determinations about what can and can't be done. For example, in Forsyth County, we have pretty big lobbies outside the courtroom, so it's possible to ask people to stand 6 to 10 feet apart while they wait for their case to be heard. Now, that's possible if you have 10 or 20 people. It's not possible if you have 300 or 400 people, which is often the case in our district criminal courts, for example. So each type of court may also open differently in each county. So, for example, let's just talk about what's not happening statewide for sure. So first, there are no jury trials going to be held anywhere in the state in the month of June or the month of July. For those of you who don't know, basically a jury trial is where the litigants come to court and they pick 12 jurors to hear their case and make a decision about the issues in the case. Those 12 jurors are picked from a pool of jurors that could be several hundred. And so obviously you can't have several hundred people in a courtroom and still maintain 6 foot social distancing. One of the things Judge Beasley has required is that in the courtrooms that the courtroom staff and the court judges make sure there is physically 6 feet in seating arrangement, so no one can be closer than 6 feet of one another. So again, if you're sitting in a jury box, you might have seen that on TV, if you're sitting in a jury box, you can't sit shoulder to shoulder like that and still be 6 feet apart. So for now, no jury trials in either civil superior court or criminal superior court for the month of June or the month of July. They'll relook at it and see if there's a way to safely do that in the month of August. Also, no jury trials in the district court level either, whether civil anyway, where you would have to have a jury. Our courts, our district courts and criminal courts don't have jury trials. You have a trial in front of a judge. And then if you want to appeal that, you can have a trial in front of a jury in superior court later. So first, there will not be any jury trials in civil superior, civil or criminal superior, or civil district. The other thing that's happening is, for example, in Forsyth County, the court is beginning to reopen crowded courts like traffic court or like criminal district court, where you may have 300 or 400 or 500 people sitting in a courtroom waiting for their case to be called. So what we're doing in Forsyth County, at least, is starting off with traffic court starting the week of June 1st. And what they've done is the district attorney has sent to the defense attorneys the dockets for that week and asked us to take a look and see if we have cases on it. And if we do, to get in touch with the district attorney and decide how we want to handle that case. If we can do a plea that we can agree between the state and the defense attorney that there will not be an active sentence, for example, then we can go forward with a plea in that case, but it's going to be virtually. Since the client is not going to go to jail, the client won't need to be in the courtroom. If the client wants a trial in front of a judge, then we let the DA know that as well, and then they will set for a certain date and a certain time that trial, so that only the district attorney, the defense attorney, the defendant, and the judge will be in the courtroom for that trial. Then, if there are any witnesses needed in the trial, they'll be allowed in the courtroom, and then once their testimony is done, I imagine the way they'll do it is that person will be allowed to leave. But you may have a trial then set for a Wednesday at 10 o'clock, which is completely different than how it used to be, where 400 people just sat in the courtroom waiting for their case to be called. If the case is going to be continued, then we'll just get up with the district attorney and ask that they be continued, and then they'll continue it, and no one will need to go to court that day. So it's kind of a phased-in process where they're trying to figure out how can we start handling some cases in courtrooms where there are typically 100, 200, 300 people sitting in the courtroom each day. In Forsyth County, we have not decided how we're doing criminal district court yet. They're starting with traffic court. They'll see how that goes, and then they'll start making arrangements for criminal court. There are civil cases going on. For example, it sounds like from the last memo I got that you may be able to handle your civil case like a custody case or like a child support case, where if it's going to take less than 2 hours, then again, the court can set a date and a time for that hearing, and then just the litigants, the parties, and the attorneys will be allowed into the courtroom with the judge and the court personnel so that it can be heard. It's my that the hearing can't last more than 2 hours. What they're going to do with hearings that are going to last more than 2 hours, I do not know. We're still, stay tuned for that, and we'll see. In Superior Court, I know, at least in Civil Superior Court, they are hearing some motions in person, virtually. So, for example, if the parties can't agree, then the attorneys will show up in court with the judge and the court personnel at a date and time set by the judge for their motion to be heard. And then when they're done, they will leave. Then the next set of attorneys will come in for their motion to be heard. Or it's also possible that they're going to do it virtually, meaning the judge will be in the courtroom on video, and then the attorneys will be in their offices on video. The court reporter will be there recording everything, and the hearing will be held in that manner. So there are a couple different ways to do civil Superior Court cases. Superior Court criminal cases, they're still trying to work on here in Forsyth County. I don't think they're going to hear any cases in June, but they're trying to set something up for July. And again, I think it'll be something like they'll send out dockets to the attorneys. They'll ask the attorneys to see if they have any cases on that docket, get up with the DA and decide whether it's a case that needs a hearing, a case where maybe a plea can be done, and then they'll set up a certain date and a certain time for that hearing. I have already done virtual hearings where I had a judge in Greensboro on the bench there. I was here in my office. The other attorney was at her home, and their clients were at their respective homes. And we did it virtually using a WebEx program is what the courts use, so that we could have testimony heard and the judge can make a decision. So it's sort of just sort of a new world. I think everybody needs to be patient with how the courts are going to do it, including the judges, including the clerks, including the attorneys and the parties. Every county will be different. I spoke with a clerk in Davidson County today who said they're not planning on having most hearings in June. They're looking at in July. So again, they don't have the same physical ability to separate people. They don't have bigger courtrooms. They don't have bigger lobbies. So it's more difficult for them to have any hearings done unless they're done virtually. If you have a case, whether it be a civil case or a criminal case, if you have an attorney, you should call your attorney, and your attorney should be able to tell you when you need to be there or where you need to be or whether your case will be continued, handled in person, or handled virtually. If you don't have an attorney and you have a case in civil court or criminal court, you should call the clerk of court for the county where your case is being held and ask them how you are supposed to proceed. Is your case going to be heard in person? If so, what day and what time? Is your court going to be heard virtually? If so, how do I sign up to be able to do that? Or is your case going to be postponed? And do they know what date your case will be postponed to? So we are beginning to open up. We are doing it on a sort of learn-as-you-go basis to make sure, as Chief Justice Beasley has said, to make sure everyone is safe. That means the people coming into the courthouse. It means the people who work at the courthouse. It means the court personnel. It means the litigants, the parties of the case. It means the witnesses to the case. It means the personnel who clean the courtrooms and clean the hallways and clean the bathrooms. The most important thing, according to our Chief Justice, is that it be safe for everyone. So work slowly and methodically to set up ways that each courthouse, knowing their types of cases and their limitations, can set up hearings to be heard. So that's kind of it. I'm sorry I can't be more definite for you. There just is no definite answer at the moment. I had mentioned that I was going to do this to another attorney who jokingly is like, well, tell me how it's going to work because I don't understand either. And it's because none of us really know. We're just all going to try to do the best we can, taking the orders that our Chief Justice has given us and what our Superior Court judges and our District Court judges in trying to run their courtrooms are trying to do. So, as usual, if you have any questions, you can reach out to Probst Law Firm either by phone at 336-721-9090. You can go to our website at probstlawfirm.com. You can email me personally at bob@probstlawfirm.com. If you have a particular topic you want to hear talked about on a Wednesday, feel free to send me an email or give me a call and let me know, or say something on this video and I'll be happy to try to do it. Thanks, and I appreciate anybody who saw it. If you like it and you think somebody else could use the information, please feel free to share it. Thanks, and have a good afternoon, everyone.